Hey everybody, my name is Robbie Du Rand, your show host of the RDR Show, and welcome to the third episode of my show, where I can say what I want, when I want, about what I want, and who gives a flying fish. Yes, please.
The RDR Show with Robbie Du Rand.
Coming up on this episode, our news covering local and international news. Catch out the international news. Joe Biden's still struggling with those stairs. The celebrity interview we're going to be covering with ex-Springbok and World Cup 1995 winner Japie Mulder, an absolute legend on and off the field. Chatting to him in a bit. The Mnets Survivor SA finale, we're chatting with the winner of Season 9 and the 2 million Rand of Mnets Survivor, Dino. We've got our sports wrap coming up as well. I'm going to be chatting to Run for Hope founder Currin, and we're going to be chatting to her all about what she's doing. Incredible work in the Eastern Cape, as well as also being a big supporter of the RDR brand. Videos of the week, catch that. There's some funny stuff coming up. And then our talent search, we give you, the viewer, aspiring musicians, rappers, DJs, comedians, or dancers. You can submit a video, and we potentially could play that on this show. This week, DjMj, the 14-year-old, she's a new sensation. She opened up for Lockenville. She's going to be performing for us. And so stay tuned. Let's kickstart the RDR Show. Let's check out our local news first in South Africa. So as local everyday South Africans groveling with rising costs in fuel, food, and living, we continue to be living on the double sword. We damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't. Don't you feel like when you go and put in fuel in your car nowadays, you get that real feeling of you being absolutely screwed? What am I talking about? One example is fuel taxes. SA government continues to hammer its already struggling citizens a staggering 147% increase of taxes from 2011 to 2021. So at the end of the day, we're caught by the short and curlies as fuel is a necessity. So as long as you need to drive a car, put fuel in the car, take your kids to sport, you, the taxpayer, will have to fit the bill to the lavish lifestyles of our hierarchy. And in South Africa, that talk about white people goes on and on and on. This man puts it into perspective about white people.
Here's why I'm mad today. I'm mad today because I'm sick and tired of hearing people say, that thing, it's for white people. Like, you know, for example, if you want to work with wild animals, just work with wildlife, enjoying yourself out there with some lions, just enjoying, just legarizing with the big five, nah? And people just tell you like, that thing, it's for white people. Like, I mean, look at this video.
Kevin's just told us to stay very still. The male line has taken an interest in us, and he's just trying to assert his dominance and get him to move away.
No. Lizard? Yeah. This down stomach? No, boy. No. Start. Start the car. And go.
Sir.
Go.
Go.
Start the car. And go.
Sir.
Go.
Go. Go.
I care, white people, you guys enjoy it.
Let's check out what is happening abroad. Don't we all just hate bullies? It's always a pleasure when bullies meet their day. It is. Somewhere in Germany, these boys took it a little bit too far with the ladies and got knocked out. Check this out. Did you hear that inmate slap? Oh, it was hard. And finally, you've got to always end with a little Joe Biden. What is the show without a bit of POTUS Joe Biden humor? The leader of the free world, the man is getting worse and worse every day. And Sleepy Joe, we know, he struggles getting up the stairs of Air Force One. What would happen if Joe Biden came down the stairs of Air Force One? Check this out. Oh no. Goodness me. Let's let's get into our celebrity segment. Right, I'm very privileged to be speaking to one of the greatest centres in world rugby, in my opinion, Mr. Japie Mulder. Jacobus Cornelius Japie Mulder, born 18th October 1969. Former SA rugby player, played between 1994 and 2001. Japie Mulder, born Springs, Gauteng, went to school with Hoërskool Huguenot, also went to Rand Afrikaans University. In 91 to 2001, Transvaal, Golden Lions, Cats, over 113 games, first-class games, as well as represented South Africa, the Springboks 94 to 2001, 34 caps, and then inevitably part of the World Cup 1995 winning team. Japie Mulder, legend both on and off the field. Welcome to the RDR Show.
Thank you very much, Robbie. It's nice seeing you again, my friend.
Yeah, a widescreen now, Japie, since I last saw you.
Both on this side as well.
Yeah. Japie, tell me, man, your early days growing up in Lekker Place, Springs, I mean, was that the foundation for you in your rugby career?
Yeah, I believe so, Robbie. You know, I come from a rugby family. My dad and his two brothers, they all played for Eastern Transvaal. What's it called these days? The Falke. All three of them played for the Falke when they were younger. So I basically grew up in a family. I grew up next to the rugby fields. Watched a lot of club rugby. I was a ball boy many a games. So yes, I think it was just part of it's part of my family and was part of me for a very long time.
I was talking about who inspired you, and obviously you mentioned your brother and your dad. I know that you were very close with your dad as well. Was he a catalyst in your career and pushed you in the direction and pushed you to where you achieved?
I wouldn't say he pushed me, Robbie. It was more a question of supporting me. You know, he was always there. You know, from primary school, started playing in grade 1 or 2 those days. We were only allowed to start playing in grade or standard 1. Which is grade 3 now, but, my dad went to go and ask the teacher, can I maybe start in grade 2, which I did, and yes, and he was just always there, I can't remember of any game that he ever missed when I was at school, right through to high school. Then at varsity, he always used to come around whenever they had time or he could come. So, yeah, he was always been there for me, and I would say he was my biggest supporter. And I wouldn't say like you asked if he pushed me, but he was just basically there and supporting me.
Well, I know you pushed yourself, that's for sure. You had an excellent career, Japie, with specifically with the Lions, 113 first-class games. Those were the good old days of Lions rugby? Yes,
of course, Robbie. Was fortunate enough, those days, 91, when I started, we were still amateur. That was, like you said, it was a good old days. The guys were still able to do a bit of naughty stuff off the field and after the games, which we all did. But I must say, I preferred my amateur rugby than I would say when we went professional in 96. That there was a lot more fun. It wasn't so serious. So I enjoyed my amateur rugby more than the professional side.
Japie, World Cup 95, I mean, I think that probably the questions are endless, but, there were so many memories of that. What was your fondest memory of that achievement?
Robbie, it's obviously when that final whistle went, because, the pressure on the guys, during that World Cup was quite high, mainly because we played in South Africa. There was a lot of pressure. I think just hearing that final whistle after the extra time and everything was just just relief. That's all I can remember of it. It's just, I'm so happy that final whistle went and we won. So, other the stuff, then that there was, the whole experience of the World Cup was something else, but like I said, there's that final whistle that still is fresh in my mind, just that pure relief. All the way, all the pressure that was on us, it was just amazing.
You did what not many rugby players have ever done in their lives, and they've actually lifted that Webb Ellis trophy. The feeling of that?
Yeah, Rob, it's a long time ago, my friend. I can't even remember what happened last week. So never mind 25, 27 years now. So, yeah, no, like I said, Rob, it's just an honor. It was an honor to be part of that group. There were so many other guys who were in the squad prior to the final selection. I was just happy to be part of it and be part of the winning side and, like you said, lifting that trophy.
Yeah, it must have been really special. Japie, when you came down to East London with the books the one time, you came out, did a session with me. You came out under 15, I think, Hudson Park side. We went on to be unbeaten that season, by the way. Yeah, and the thing is, what I wanted to chat to you about was how important is it to give back when you're in that type of a position, to keep your feet on the ground, and also obviously to, when you're at the pinnacle of your career, to always take that step down and appreciate and to give back to people that are looking up to you.
No, Robbie, I think it's very important. I got so much out of rugby. And I'm still giving back to rugby now these days. I'm still helping at the primary school. I'm still liking, every now and again people ask me to come and do some coaching clinics, which I do with the greatest of pleasure. I believe it's my duty to give back. The game has given me so much. I had a wonderful career, obviously a lot of injuries, but that's part of the game. But the game has given me a lot, not only on the field, but off the field. All the privileges I've had through my life, it's only been an honor, So for me to give a little bit back it's the least I can do.
Japie, I'm going to throw you on the spot now. The current Springboks. Are we getting it right? Or I see 7 or 8 changes coming up for this weekend. Is that panic stages, or is it part of the squad system? What's your opinion?
Robbie, it looks to me like panic stations. I must be honest. The guys, I was at Ellis Park when we lost against the All Blacks. I think the atmosphere wasn't so bad afterwards. That's probably why I still enjoyed the game because of the atmosphere was at Ellis Park. But I must say this weekend against the Australians, we were poor, man. It really wasn't a good show to me. There's a lot of and everyone speaks about it, but a lot of the senior guys haven't showed what they went to show. They bring their part. There's obviously a lot of changes, which was expected. You can't carry on like that. I think there's a lot of pressure on the guys now, especially again down in Australia. It's not easy there. We don't win there a lot. I think, like I said, my biggest concern is all the senior players that haven't stood up. They haven't come to the party, and hopefully this weekend, you can't expect from the junior players to stand up in matches like these. It's never easy against Australians or the All Blacks. This weekend's going to be tough again, especially there's a lot of players injured. Hopefully we can do it, but I think there's a bit of panic. I can sense it. And so hopefully they can pull something out of the hat this weekend.
Do you think we're selecting the best side to run onto the park? For example, when you go take on the All Blacks, you should be choosing your best side. I think the trials and tribulations are over now. We need to be selecting our best side to win games.
No, I agree with you, Robbie. I don't think you should do any trials when you play against the All Blacks or Australia. Now, you must always pick your best side. Start with your best side. If you've got guys in mind, give them maybe a last minute or 5 or 10 minute run at the end, if you want experience with a younger guy, but only if you're ahead in the game, you don't just send guys on for the hell of it. I think when you're ahead of the game by 10 or 15 points, by all means, do your replacements if need be, but just by giving away caps and doing experiments, and that doesn't work. You must always, to me, when you play against those sides, England, Wales, everybody, anybody in the top 10, you always pick your best side and you play with them. And if you feel you can change or the time is right, you can maybe give the youngsters a go and see how that goes. But, I think, like you say, we haven't started with our best sides in the last 2 test matches.
Well, post-rugby, obviously you had a few dark spaces. 2009, I don't know if you want to talk about experience of hijacking in South Africa. I mean, do you ever fully recover from that mentally, Japie? I mean, it was quite a traumatic thing for you and for your family, an ordeal.
Yeah, Robbie, it was about a 4.5 to 5 hour ordeal. I was thrown in the boot of my car, and I think they put the 9mm against my head probably about 10 times. Then they want this, then they want that. So it wasn't a nice experience, for myself and my wife. And at that stage, we only had the 2 kids. It takes you a while to to get over it. But luckily, I'm not a very clever guy, so it wasn't too long, Robbie.
You got over it quickly.
I think but I think it was my eldest boy at that stage, it bothered him for quite a while. We take him for counselling and the little girl. But it's what's traumatic, but especially for the kids, we think we are too thick-skinned to to stay worried for too long as is, South Africans, but the kids did feel it. It took them a couple of months to get over it, but we're all fine now. Thank you very much, Robbie.
No, good. What are you up to now? I know you got your family.
Robbie, I've been in the telco industry for the last 20 years, building towers, cell phone towers, and doing maintenance on them. I've been doing it forever and a day, so we just keep on going and every day up and down. What can I say? Work is work, Rob.
Work is work. We'd love to see you back coaching or doing something. So it's going to be good. Even a reunion, Japie. I think a reunion's got to come through soon. Just quickly, I want to throw some spitfire questions at you. Just one or the other, and you answer. Okay, so you ready? Braai or Potjie?
Braai.
What car do you drive?
Range Rover.
Tequila or Jägermeister?
Jägermeister.
Favorite stadium in the world, Japie? Your favorite stadium?
Ellis Park.
Ellis Park.
Ellis Park.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you shower or bath?
Both, depends. Winter bath. Summer shower.
Jonah Lomu or Walter Little? Who would you take?
Jonah Lomu.
Jonah Lomu in place of Walter Little.
Yep.
I'll tell you a story. We went on a rugby tour, and a mate of mine came up behind Walter Little. He thought he was one of our rugby players, and he gave him a slap on the back.
Yes.
And this turned around, and it was Walter Little. and he turns around, he says, "Is that how you greet your mates, bro?" your favorite back coach of all time?
Raymond.
Yeah, justifiably. Who was your best bud in your rugby career? Who was your best mate?
I would say Peter Hendricks.
Peter Hendricks, yeah.
But I've had a few, depends on what level and what year. There's so many, I grew up with, at varsity, I stayed in the house with Francois Pienaar and Theo van Rensburg. So many, man. Christian Scholes, we lived together. And then after later stages, Tinus Delport, Grant Estreisen, guys like that. So, it's so many guys, so it's been a 12 season. So there's a couple of guys that I love and still speak to them quite often. But these days we speak to Peter Hendricks and myself are still good mates.
Good. And this is an interesting one. The worst roommate you ever had on tour and why?
Worst? I'm going to say why. I think it's Christian Scholes. I'll tell you why. Because he went to management and asked if he can leave my room because he couldn't stay with me anymore, Rob. So it must be him. It must have been something that he did. It wasn't me.
Yeah, that was him. Japie Mulder, it's been a privilege and an honor to speak to you again. Wishing you all the best as you continue your journey in life, and may you and your family be blessed in many years to come.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Cheers,
nice seeing you again.
Cheers.
On Monday, 18 July, 20 former Survivor outcasts will reignite their flames in the world's greatest game. With 4 episodes a week, filmed on the Sunshine Coast. Survivor SA return on the Outcasts. Now 4 episodes a week. Trailer and cast coming soon.
Survivor South Africa, proudly sponsored by Lotto Star.
The Survivor South Africa return of the Outcast jury decided in last week's finale that one-time pre-merger boot Dino had played the best game of the season, winning the coveted title of Sole Survivor. Dino managed to pip Shane Hatting in the finale last week. I want to welcome the winner of Survivor Season 9 to the RDR Show. Dino, $2 million richer. You must be feeling good.
Dude, it is so epic, man. Like, I always said I'd play this game for free. I love the game, and that was the dream, was to play it. But to walk away with the title and $2 million, man, I could not be more ecstatic. It's still pretty surreal, and it hasn't quite sunk in yet.
Talking about the game, Dino, speaking to series director Leroux Botha, he was saying that it was one of the most difficult survivors in history of Survivor. The weather, lack of meals, challenges. Tell us a little bit about your experiences.
Man, dude, so this season going in, day one, we learned the hard way that this was going to be rough, man. Supplies were next to non-existent, right? Food was incredibly, incredibly scarce. To put you in the picture, like the last couple of days I was out there, 4 days leading up to the last day, I hadn't eaten a single meal. 10 days prior to that, I was surviving off a handful of cooked rice per day. I mean, I walked away like 14 and a half kilos lighter at the end of the season in 49 days. I mean, we were freezing to the point that like sleep deprivation was such a thing, cold was such a thing that I ended up falling asleep into the fire and burning myself, you know, in an attempt to like stay warm, you know. So conditions were insane, man, absolutely insane. But super proud of everyone who pulled through it, because nobody there, no matter how tough it got, was going to give up.
Tell us, a re-emergence of past outcasts. Was it easier working with past contestants? And what were the challenges, or the greatest challenges, working with past contestants?
So it's pretty tough and a bit intimidating going in as a pre-merge boot, and you're seeing all these really great players from previous seasons that you've watched, and a lot of people who you've been fans of, and to a large degree, a lot of people who have become friends outside of the game. And there's all these pre-existing relationships, mostly positive, even some negative. And it's kind of difficult because you've got to ascertain, like, okay, cool, what are those existing relationships? How do they affect this game? What are my pre-existing relationships? How do they affect my game? Am I going to be walking away here, you know, without friends that I had before? So it really complicated things. So a number of people had seen each other's gameplay, so they kind of figured what they could expect from each player. So to mask yourself was incredibly tough as well, and mask your skill sets or minimize your threat level was tough, because everybody knew a whole lot about everybody else. And it was just about how well you use that information to your advantage. So it was a challenge, man. It was so different to the first time round.
How nerve-wracking was the finale against Shane Hatting? I mean, you're standing there on the stage, it's yourself or him winning that money and winning the coveted title. What emotions did you feel?
So going into that tribal council, I was more confident against Shane than anybody else. You know, I backed myself, I backed my game. I saw the jury reactions throughout the final or the last couple of tribal councils, and I knew I was in good footing. And I was like, this final tribal council is mine to lose. And the way the jury went on about it, their reactions at final tribal council sowed seeds of doubt in my mind, to the point where when my fiance and my brother came out, I was like, I think I bottled it, guys. I don't think I've got this anymore, you know. There was that little bit of doubt that crept in. So listening to Nico read the votes, and eventually it goes Dino, and the sole survivor is, I was like, dude, I absolutely lost it, man. It was days and days or months of elation, like built up emotion, all coming out at once. It's like the little 11-year-old Dino coming out, had this dream of actually winning this game and finally realizing this dream. You know, that little 11-year-old came out in full force. So it was absolutely overwhelming, and it's still, I can't wrap my head around it to this day.
Or you turned your game around. I mean, from season 8, where you felt you had self-doubt, is it self-doubt, I would say? Was this an excellent confidence push for you in believing in yourself?
Absolutely. Even going in and returning to that doubt that had crept in from a poor performance in season 8, going like, do I even deserve to be here? Like, I'm just going to be outplayed by all these monsters players, you know? But as the days went on and as I built up relationships, the confidence in my own game came through. And I started backing what I knew about the game as a fan, and how, you know, and I started backing my strategy, and I started backing the social bonds I had. And that confidence grew all the way through to the end of the game.
Dino, just check in as well. You had the immunity necklace post, the final grueling endurance challenge. I mean, they reckon that could be possibly rated as the worst ever, or the most difficult in Survivor SA history. How difficult was that final challenge?
Dude, so I wasn't too phased about going into an endurance challenge at the end. That's not my forte. But the one endurance challenge I never wanted to see for myself, especially at a final individual immunity, was anything that required grip strength or upper body strength, man. You've seen my arms. Like, they're skinny. I've got no grip strength. I had a shoulder op 7 months prior to going out to the game. My hands were still like healing from the fire burns, you know, the burns that I had from the fire. So it was almost like the worst case scenario for me in terms of challenge. It was daunting. However, the way I'd set the game up was to be able to be at the end with people I perceived I could potentially beat in a variety of types of challenges. You know, I try to give myself the best chance possible. So that's how I ended up taking it down. I mean, if I was there against like a Phil, a Steffi, a Tajan, a Dante, a Tony, I don't know, man, they would have kicked my ass, you know. So I hung on for absolute dear life, and I'm super proud of myself for bagging that win, man. It's definitely the type of challenge I never thought I'd ever win.
Yeah, well, look, you did so well. A part of your winnings, your trip to on the Zambezi Queen with 80,000 Rand. Have you been on that yet?
No, not yet, but they have been in touch to start booking that. I think I'm going to be booking that for my fiance's 30th later this year, which I'm really, really looking forward to. It definitely was a bucket list trip that I'd seen, as far back as 5 years ago, that I was like, man, that looks epic,
Yeah.
So to be able to win that is so, so cool.
You also won a brand new Mahindra X SUV 300, I think it is, in week 4. How's your wheels going?
I haven't received the wheels just yet, but they're going to go a long way because I've been without a car for quite some time. So I'm super stoked to be receiving a new car. And as a fan of the show, I managed to break a car curse, a 21-year-long car curse, across all English-speaking franchises. So I feel super proud of that achievement as a fan as well.
And then finally, obviously I've got to say well done. I mean, I think your achievements were just outstanding, excellent. 2 million Rand richer. Now, are you going to do a lot with that? Where are you looking at investing?
No, look, a large portion of that is just going to set my fiance up, the both of us up for married life. That it's going to be mostly responsible money. There is a portion that I'm putting aside to help a couple of friends and family who are in need at this stage, and it will go a long way to helping them. There's more than enough to go around. And I'm keeping a very small portion as selfish money because I am a competitive skydiver. I do have ambitions of representing SA. Oh, wow. That's going to take a lot of time and financial commitment. So that's going to go towards training to reaching those goals in the future.
Well, listen, you are the man who went on to outwit, outplay, and outlast your fellow outcasts. We want to wish you all the best in your future endeavors, Dino. And congratulations once again on winning Mnets Survivor SA Season 9.
Thanks so much, man. Always a pleasure chatting to you, and thanks for having me again, man.
Cheers, Dino. Keep well. I'd like to welcome a very special person now to the RDR show, someone who I admire, I respect, and has been a great part and parcel of the RDR brand all the way through, I think 5 years ago. Her latest mission is Run for Hope. Bonnie, hello. Welcome to the RDR show.
Thank you so much.
Right. What is Run for Hope?
Run for Hope was founded 4 years ago and really a mechanism for creating awareness for those in need, particularly orphans. We've really run for orphans over the last couple of years because it's in November and it's the awareness month. And of course, with the ideal strategy of raising funds for them.
Okay, you're doing a lot of work behind the scenes, I know, for a lot of NPOs, one of them being Guardians of Hope. Tell me a little bit about Guardians of Hope.
Well, Guardians of Hope obviously so close to my heart. I'm very blessed to be a board member. And really, it's a place of safety for destitute and abandoned babies. So we've got terrible stories of babies being left in dustbins, fields, or at hospitals, or just taken away from families who are just ill-equipped at the time, potentially to look after them. And they need a place to stay and be loved and be cared for. And places like Guardians of Hope does that.
You've done a lot of work as well. We all know about that incredible young man, Obuko. Tell us a little bit about the story about him. I think 5 years ago, that's when we met and we discussed Obuko and interviewed him as well. Things have developed now. He got prosthetic legs. We're now working to get his hands.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. It was through the Businesswomen Association Awards that I met an amazing woman, Marissa Nell, and she was asked to get legs for Obuko. At the time, he was wearing these little wooden stumps and he's been treated free at hospital and he's really struggling to move. So we created a run known as Weekend Run. We partnered up with Daily Dispatch on their Fun Run days. And we raise funds and awareness for people with disabilities in general. And of course, that day that Obuko got his first prosthetic legs, because in fact, he's got to get new ones every year because he grows taller.
Oh, wow.
So those were the Spider-Man ones. And yeah, it was very special. There wasn't a dry eye in that room that day.
Well, I saw the run with Jono Kruger where they ran, what was it, 6 days?
Yeah, 300 kilometers.
300 kilometers. What did it work out to, like 40 Ks a day? Or how many Ks a day?
Yeah, it was approximately a marathon a day. I mean, wow. They were just amazing. And all for Obuko. Selborne School's really behind him. So they're fundraising through, again, a fundraising mechanism known as Sport for Lives. And they are trying to raise funds for his robotic hand because he also has lots of missing fingers, and that creates challenges to hold a tennis racket, a hockey stick, or even write.
Bonnie, you're also involved in the Kai Women's Forum. Tell us a little bit about that.
So that's part of the Border Kai Chamber of Business. This year we decided it was time to open a desk that focused on women in business. So it's known as the Women's Forum. I'm fortunate to be the chairperson of that. And we really look after the needs of women, both from a personal development, networking support, and just creating a platform for recognition and empowerment of women in our community.
You've got all these things that are lining up. I mean, Wild Women on the Run as well. That's an incredible aspect of women empowerment. Give us a little bit of information on that one.
Well, that was amazing. I mean, that started my love for trail running or multi-day trail running. Yeah. So they do it once a year. I think very cleverly they instilled a rule where after 5 years of consecutive running, you have to give your ticket over to someone so you can spread the love. So more women, because you wouldn't give your ticket up naturally. Yes. It's too much fun. But they do a 3-day run over the Transkei sort of region once a year, and in that they're raising funds also for a number of charities.
Wow. Well, I mean, it's inspirational what you're doing for people around, especially when you're talking like Guardians of Hope, where these kids are found in dirt bags, and they are raised. The event now, Run for Hope, what is it about? Where is it? When is it? And what's happening?
Yeah, so it just progresses each year. So it started as me just running 10Ks a day for 30 days over November to raise awareness for orphans in East London.
Wow.
And of course, COVID hit. And so we decided to run a marathon in our garden and again raise funds, and everyone supported that. And then when I joined Jono Kruger on the Booker 300 run, it was on the second day, he said, what next? And I said, well, look, I've got to, November's coming up. I've got to raise funds and awareness for orphans again. So he said, well, let me join you. So, of course, it was the catalyst to say, what can we do to make it bigger? Yeah. So we've decided this year we're going to be running for 24 hours. And we're inviting corporates, schools, relay teams, individuals to come and join us. And we're going to raise funds for 4 charities this year.
Wow. Okay, and those 4 charities?
So it's Guardians of Hope, Breath of Life, the King's Children's Home, and Greensleeves Children's Trust. So all of them focus on orphans. So the idea is, once again, just raise awareness for the destitute sort of situation in East London. And there's just really just not enough beds for them. So the community has to pull together and try and assist these amazing organizations that take care of them.
Okay, so where is this happening, and how do people get hold of you?
So the Cove, it's an amazing venue out on the Nahoon Dam Road. So it's 15 minutes from Vincent, from Hemingway's. And we chose that venue for a number of reasons. Number one, it's well lit. There's a rugby field with floodlights. So
nice.
we're going to have, there's no cars, so we've got no danger with that. It's got beautiful kitchen facilities where we can be running tuck shops from. There's really neat, stunning bathrooms. So we well taken care of, and there's camping when someone wants to take a chilled out time for a couple of hours before hitting and it's a 5K loop, it's a trail loop, so children can come, you can do your 5Ks or you can do 24 hours, it's up to you. And so how to do it, you go onto the Sport for Lives website, all the campaigns are on there. We are also running a Facebook page to create a lot of awareness and share the news and the interesting sort of nits and bits about what it's all about, and announcing all the corporate teams as an example. We're trying to give awareness because, as you know, it's to bring in the community. We're trying to ensure that everyone gets their pound out of it. So we're doing what we can to support. And of course, at the moment, we've really got some great corporates. We've got OHS, Automotive Learning Academy, Link FM. There's been a number of them that said, come, let's get teams together. And he's trying to encourage other companies in East London because it's for such a good cause.
Well, it certainly is. It sounds brilliant. I've just personally got to say, well done for everything you do for the kids that don't have a voice. I know that all these little things that you're doing contribute to food and nappies and whatever it is. And just got to say, well done. Thank you for the support that you give the RDR show. And I'm sure we would like to have you back after the event and see how your event went.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for your support. You're always amazing, Robbie. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. That was Bonnie Currin, and you can catch that all on their Facebook page, Run for Hope. Nick White was the meme of the country when he was hospitalized for a finger slap on his moustache last week. His Oscar performance got the SA fans talking big time.
Hey! Manchester United!
How embarrassing, Nick. Nick. Apparently, he's leaving rugby now and going into a little bit of acting down under. Good luck on your Oscar there, mate. Following the Springboks' defeat to Australia last week, the Springboks have made 6 changes to Saturday. Back-to-back clash versus Australia this week at Alliance Stadium, Sydney, at 11:35 a.m. Stay tuned to that. Big changes have come up. In the front row, Kitsoff and Marks are in. The Lucies, Mostert and Visser are in, and 9 and 10. This is going to be exciting stuff. Seeing Hendricks and Willems are teeing up and putting their skills together. Jesse in and Lucanio out. Lucania is injured. And a debut for this youngster, Kanan Moody. He comes in on the wing at number 14, and Willie Leroux comes in at number 15. He has been a stalwart, a turnaround, and we cannot wait to see what Willie's got to offer. This, to me, is a side that can dominate opponents. We will see a turnaround. Not sure about how much, but we're going to see a turnaround. Well, what did we expect? The Bokke versus Australia. The Springboks have only won 29% in Australia. That's 42 games that the Wallabies have won and 12 games that the Bokke have won. What did we expect? This next clash is going to be massive. Stay tuned. It's coming up at 11:35 this Saturday. Well, let's give credit where credit is due. Argentina beat the All Blacks first time ever on New Zealand soil. The coach Checker is creating havoc for the defensive systems there. And round 2 this weekend is New Zealand take on Argentina again at 9:05 a.m. And it's going to be a tough game at Waikato. A reminder as well, the RDR Show has launched a live commentary, and this will happen at home games for the Springboks. Catch that all live on YouTube. One word, the RDR Show. Our video of the week, we all know how awesome DOP is. We love it. How much fun can we have when we do enjoy a couple of cold ones with our mates or with your spouse or wherever it is? When you're vibing with the right person, it definitely works. Check these two definitely went that extra mile to have a vibing good time.
It's not me. I just deeply the door. Oh. Hey, come on! Hey, come
I'm not sure what the duck happened here, but clearly elephant 1, duck 0.
Caramelo de chocolate, dulzame así.
We want to see your funny TikToks and videos. Please email them to videos@therdrshow.com. In our talent search, we're providing talented and aspiring artists to get opportunities to use the RDR platform to get exposure. This young 14-year-old from Lillyfontein in East London is taking the DJ scene by storm, massively. She's opened up for Lochinville, also created a new event called the Teen Scene, which is going to be happening in East London and in Port Elizabeth, and we're going to be hearing from her in a little bit. Her goals one day are to play at Tomorrowland in Belgium. Ladies and gentlemen, here's DjMj. So that's the end of the RDR Show, episode 3, done and dusted. I'm your show host, Robbie Du Rand. Thank you very much to my guests who contributed to the show. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, The RDR Show. Like and share on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And it's all under The RDR Show, one word. Catch you next week. Cheerio from me.
The RDR Show with Robbie Du Rand.